Wonderful atmosphere here at the MCG. And this will be a titanic struggle. Paul Williams and Viney still at it. The umpire says, don't worry about it, boys. Let's go. Let's get this game moving. And they do. It's Melbourne who go down towards the half-forward line. Clarkson's kick, putting them inside 50. Soccer towards the line and eventually hammered over by Gavin Francisco with his arm. He was one of the Collingwood players who there was a question mark over. Throw in front of the Melbourne members area. The Melbourne chant you can probably hear in the background. Craig Turley, was he held? Yes, said the umpire. So Turley's going to take it. 45 out, and there you can see the angle.
Todd Viney is picking up Paul Williams in the middle of the ground. That will be a very decisive battle.
Turley's kick starts at left and he just pulls it even further. First score of the day, though. It's a behind to Melbourne.
So Scott Russell, designated kicker for the Collingwood team. Kicks it to himself, then takes off. Now has Munkhurst breaking into the middle. Steins comes late from behind, and there is a free kick given. It's actually going to Shawball. Andrew Shawball took a sensational mark last week from Xavier College. Just the 5 games. He's got runners out wide. He wants to use the handball. Now he's undecided. Then holds the footy. Out wide, half-forward flank. Brown over the back, can't manage it. Walker on the ground. Terrific gather by Mark Orchard. McGuan just held it. Couldn't find his teammate. There's a free kick given. And will come back and go to the Collingwood player in Mick McGuan. So Mick McGuan had a lot of groin trouble over the journey. Will kick from outside 50 is usually a very good pass.
And he will probably be looking for Rocker, and he's being picked up by Printke, who usually starts a centre-half back.
The goal square was open for a while, so he went long. Almost controlled as a push, and Ingerson will take that free kick. Richardson just got into the back, so he'll relieve for Melbourne.
Former Crow Anthony Ingerson comes in towards the back pocket. Finds galloping Jim Steins. Game number 198. Walker looks to intercept. He had it for a moment, but then he's lost it. Melbourne will regain control and drift it up towards centre wing. Graham Wright could have been held. The umpire said no, go on with it. Neitz does, but then Wright intercepts and pushes it over the line.
Important game for David Neitz. He's at centre-half forward, being picked up by Shawball. He was fantastic there last season, but has just struggled in this early couple of matches this year.
Good weather for football here in Melbourne today. An overcast day, but cool as Monkhorst tries to get it out initially to right. It's taken by Francis. The little Dynamo's away, and so are Collingwood. Down towards the 50. No mark taken. Stephen Patterson is ripped to the ground. He loses the football. So too does Grant. It's taken by McGuan. Mickey McGuan is clear. Goes in towards half-forward, and Richardson takes the mark.
Well, the Pies missed a centre-half forward last weekend against Carlton. They were outstanding through the middle of the ground, probably equalled Carlton, but they just broke down across half forward. So this is why it's such an important player to have coming into the side. Great tackle there by Francis, sets up this shot at goal.
Mark Richardson directly in front. And kicking from 40 metres should post Collingwood's first score. Melbourne having one behind on the board. He kicks it into the black and white scarves, but he kicks wide, and he doesn't register their first score. Very disappointing kick.
So Primke with that free kick, kicks to a pack of players. Munkhurst with the big fist, falls to the ground. Clarkson under pressure, has Grant wide, turns onto his left foot, kicks it back towards open spaces. McGuan, great desperate mark, low down, and Mickey McGuan already third kick in the first few minutes. Off to Buckley, Buckley goes long and high. Players have to sit and wait. Rocker, and the crowd really tells the story. The noise as Primke collapsed underneath him, and Rocker just stood his ground and took the chest mark pretty easily in the end.
Yes, I've heard you say 100 times, Malcolm, about the value of keeping the feet. I think it's a message echoed by most coaches, and we just saw the reason why.
So Zavroka, deliberate shot at goal, and has kicked the first goal of the match for the Collingwood side.
What a start for the Pies. A lot of their midfielders getting early touches. Nathan Buckley involved in that one. Mick McGuan's been outstanding early. And here's the long penetrating kick that set up this goal, because he got the ball into the forward zone quickly. Primke was running backwards with the flight of the ball, lost his player. And Savroka started in the finest of fashion.
First goal of the game going to the reigning Copeland Trophy winner in Savroka. Turley tries to send Melbourne forward, down towards their half-forward line. Alistair Clarkson looks for the free kick. Play goes on as Steins chips to half-forward. And it's going to be a free kick back to Steins. I think he was saying, well, why isn't it reload down the ground? But it's coming back to Jim Steins.
Marcus Seecamp has come off the interchange bench. Donald Cockatoo Collins gets a rest. That would be just getting a bit of a height mismatch corrected.
60 metres out. He passes in towards the pocket. Krasiska is there with a fist and he spoils, and maybe he spoiled illegally because the free kick has gone the way of Sean Smith. Krasiska can't believe it. He's still having a few words to say to Mark Westgarth, but that's immaterial because Sean Smith has a chance to answer that opening Collingwood goal from Savroka. The Demon high flyer is 25 metres out. Shoots towards goal, and there's the reply. One behind. Well, a couple of costly misses by both sides early on, Jerry.
Well, we saw what can happen when you do miss goals early in the match against Sydney and the Dockers yesterday, where the Swans set up many opportunities, but they let it go.
Oh, Nathan Buckley's kicked this out 65, 70 metres. Given Francis a real chance. Hotly pressed by Neitz. The umpire calls play on. So the big man wins out on this occasion. Goes short to Phoebe. Phoebe back inside to Smith. Caught. Fantastic tackle. Call play on. The tackling's fast and furious. Melbourne end up with it. And is now called to play on. One-on-one down in the pocket. Krasiska uses his body beautifully and takes a relieving mark for Collingwood.
Actually, the tackling has been very similar to that we witnessed with Brisbane and the West Coast Eagles. The desperation, Malcolm, fantastic early on. Scotty Russell just travelled some 30 metres to Tony Francis, former Redleg and 91 All-Australian. 4 or 5 former Nord players in this lineup. This is Russell. He was from Sturt originally. To centre wing, Kelly over the top. Look at that. At the bottom, Gary Lyon says, there's no sleeper hold on me. Let's have a bounce. An even start. Steins and Monkhorst again. The latter wins it. Viney unable to get it away through the arms of Lovett and also of Francis. Some strong work by Adam Uze. And it's a Magpies ball, with Uze being a little too aggressive. Crow's kick over centre wing. Past Obst it goes, but he does have backup support. Lovett takes it from Steins and he comes wide to Uze, the boy from Shepparton United. Big day for him today. Goes with a left foot drop punt. Big pack of players. No mark taken. And bundled over the line. Well, almost. Gary Lyon will be now. No, kept in by Graham Wright. Just for a moment. Turley under pressure. Graham Wright over the top once again. Somehow they've kept it in play. Clarkson goes inside even further. Krasiska tried to shovel it forward. Now he locks it up. Great desperation. Gavin Krasiska picks himself up. He's still chatting away.
Well, there's a massive difference between one win and two wins, or sorry, I should say 2 losses at the start of the season. And both sides understand this and are attacking the football with a vengeance.
Yes, I couldn't agree more, Jared. The heat's been really on, and it's almost like a mini final.
Well, I think Melbourne also have some pride at stake here. They were deplorable last Friday night in the opening match.
So Monkhurst from that free kick goes out to Walker, and Walker gets rid of Seacamp and takes the mark quite comfortably in the end. Now they continually go in the Mark Richardson direction. Great tap over the back to Brown. Oh, Brown can run in if he can sit on it. Oh, the two of them argue about the footy. Williams and Brown, really two experienced players. And Primke over to Clarkson. Clarkson can tidy up and kick out wide to Phoebe. And Phoebe in space has a chance now to set up Neitz. Great left foot kick and finds that player on the half volley. David Neitz controlling it. Oh, misses the hand pass to Seacamp. And it ends up back with Monkhurst in the centre.
Yes, took it from Watson, kicks down towards the half-forward line once again, but Clarkson is in that position. He defends for Melbourne, but there's been a free kick off the football. Phoebe, I think, is going to have to give it up, and it's going to go to Collingwood. Didn't exactly see what the infringement was for, but Krasiska passes in towards Saverio Rocker. Big Sav kicked the opening goal of the day, and he has a chance to stretch Collingwood's lead. This is 73rd game, and he's averaging over 3 goals a game with some 247 at the moment, to his credit. 45-degree angle, 43 metres out, but silence at the back, and he's missed again. So another behind goes on the board. This time it's to Collingwood and their first. Tony Francis, well, he's been quite busy, particularly having some chats with Todd Viney.
Well, some funny business in the middle, because Viney wants to pick up Francis. Francis wants to pick up Lovett, but Lovett wants to pick up Buckley. So they'll sort it out soon. But we do see that often happening. Particularly, I'm sure Tony Shaw would like to get Francis away from a tagger.
Grant kicks out beautifully, but Watson is there at the back to tidy up for Collingwood. There were 3 Magpies there. McGuan's got to beat a couple in the pocket. He won't, and there'll be a throw-in.
Francis has battled over the last couple of seasons when he's been tagged, and the clearest way to get around that is to put him on another player, in particular a midfielder. You can see there Francis just trying to impose his will.
So boundary throwing 35 metres around from the Collingwood goal. Falls to Patterson. Kicks to the front of the square. Ooh, great jump there from Richardson. Falls to Grant. Gives it off to Obbs. Obbs kicks and relieves the pressure. Clarkson in the box seat in the front. Cry over the back. And out of bounds results 65 metres around from the Collingwood goal. So Alastair Clarkson, recruit from North Melbourne, won their reserves best and fairest last year. Which quite a seasoned veteran now. No free kick. Called play on. Francis in underneath, as he so often is. Sampson picks it up, kicks it, wobbles forward. Wright comes to meet it like a really good player. Bursts through, only has to finish now. Sensational play. Watson
No one in the square could go for home.
Now can from 45 metres. It's coming back. It's a goal. It's the Magpies' second.
It wasn't the pace of Graham Wright so evident there. He did expose Turley, who just couldn't keep with him. But more importantly, he finished well. We know that Shane Watson is an excellent shot at goal. He's being picked up by Matthew Phoebe at the present time on a half-forward flank. But a great finish as we see Francis coming off the ground.
Collingwood out by 11 points. Francis is off the ground, and Scotty Burns comes onto the MCG, another former Nord player. Had some pickings over there, Malcolm, haven't they?
Yes, they have actually taken a lot of them.
So Melbourne are still looking for their first goal as Monkhorst beats Steins. They win it out of the middle again. McGuan's kick only short of memories of Mick having kicking problems in the past here. It's taken away by Andrew Obbs. Now the Demons have their chance, and not let down by Sean Smith.
Sure, when you were talking before about Mark Richardson coming back into the Collingwood side and Sean Smith coming back into the Melbourne side, almost evens out, doesn't it? You'd think on ability to kick goals and how important they are for both sides.
Yeah, I think that Sean Smith just showed his value there. He's so difficult to match up on because not only is he 6'6", 2 or 3, he jumps and plays like a 6'8". His arms just extend so high. The Collingwood actually have gone in with a very tall half-forward line. They've thrown Lee Walker there as well. So they're really trying to stretch Melbourne's defence.
From 40 metres, Sean Smith's drop punt looks pretty good, and there's Melbourne's first goal. The D's now trail by 5 points.
Good get out of the middle for Melbourne there by Obst, who's just going with McGuan at the moment. But this was what really was missing from Melbourne's game last weekend. Somebody to shoot at that was going to take a mark. Gary Lyon was injured. We know he was out on the ground. And as yet, he hasn't proved to us that he's 100% fit today. But Sean Smith certainly has recovered well from that injury.
Under 9 minutes remaining in this first term, which is turning out to be pretty even. McGuan goes to ground. He'll pick himself up as Viney gets it across to Lovett. The D's a chance to go forward again. He finds Obst. Obst has a look down towards those danger players, Lyon and Smith. Collingwood have the numbers there. Kelly tries to lock it in, coming over the top of Gary Lyon. A wry smile by the Melbourne skipper.
And you saw there, Sandy, Gary Lyon didn't want to jump at the ball. He just wanted to edge out Craig Kelly there. And Dipper, we believe you've got a report for us.
Yes, Tony Francis is just getting patched up, Jared. He received the bad knock last week on the forehead and has just opened up again.
Williams soccers off the ground and he picks it up beautifully. Collingwood are away. Mickey McGuan bounces his way through the centre. Has a look down towards half forward. It's going to drop short, but again well picked up by Rocker. Back to McGuan, 65 metres out. Goes down towards Scotty Russell, who gets a high bounce. He was forced to sit and wait for it, and that enabled the Melbourne defence to close in on him and take the ball over the line.
I think we just saw evidence of what Melbourne would be most fearsome of, is the running power of the Collingwood midfielders. They've got so many talented players there that they haven't been able to get on the park at once many times in the last year or two. They're there today and they've started well.
So Primke and Rocker in the forward pocket. Intelligent tap by Rocker, no one there but Melbourne players. Viney can't handle it cleanly. Ends up back with Primke. Obs feeds it out to Cow, and the D's are away through Clarkson. Has time to kick and set this ball up. Oh, beautiful interception by Buckley. It's a fair stretch in the end. He really was off balance with the marking. Back inside to McGuan, who's been really busy. Kicks, the ball falls short. Pinched by Watson. Absolutely pinched.
7 possessions to Mick McGuan so far in this game.
So Shane Watson already kicked the goal. And kicking from just outside 50. Kicks. It's pushed it across the face and just behind. The second one for Collingwood, 2-2. Lead Melbourne by a solitary goal, 1-2.
Francis been patched up. He's come back onto the ground at the expense of Scott Crow, ex-Hawthorn player, who had a terrific game last week in his first for Collingwood.
One straight kick in it and under 7 minutes remaining. Carl has been asked to bring it back into play. He does so to Andrew Obst. May reach a milestone today, Obst. If he can kick 1 goal, that'll be his 50th in his 111 games. Look at Graham Wright go. He's had a pretty good start too. Goes up towards centre wing and well picked up on his toes by Patterson. Down towards the 50. Pressure now on Grant. The football spills free. Obst is going to be paid the advantage and he's told to go on with it. He does. From half back up towards half forward. Wants Neitz, but Collingwood have the numbers. Shorville gets it wide towards right. They close in on him now. It's pushed over the line and a throw in on that outer side. Melbourne's Levy came in.
Melbourne's last 2 kicks to the centre half forward position have both favoured the Collingwood player. Cowles went to Graham Wright, and that one from Grant went straight to Damien Monkhorst.
Speaking of the man, he gets it down and it's taken by Buckley, who shrugs the tackle. We'll wait on this kick. It's long and low again. Up towards half forward. Well, umpire Mark Westgarth has picked out a free kick to Severo Rocker for holding. What did you think, Jared?
Well, from a distance of about 150 metres, I thought that Rocker was doing just as much pushing as Primke. And if there's a free there, we're not playing the right game. What do you think, Mel?
Yeah, look, I agree with you. There was a bit in it, but I mean, that was just pushing and shoving. As you say, Rocker was doing as much probably.
Monkhorst is coming off the ground and Pitt's back on. as Rocker from 40 metres, drop punt straight through the middle. Another one to Collingwood. So he gets his second. And Collingwood again opens up a handy 12-point lead.
Let's have another look at this free. Buckley really starting to impose some influence on this game. And if you just have a look there, it did look as if it was a bit of an easy one for Sav Rocker. But no doubt that'll even up as the game goes on. And Ingerson has got to put it out of his brain and get on with the job.
So 2-goal margin out of the Magpies. Ball in the centre of the ground. Viney, quick hands out to Phoebe. Back through traffic to Cowell. Sets up Lovett in a chase. Goes too far for that player. Clarkson overruns it. Buckley there to mop up. Turns, kicks to Walker. Not great kick. Put himself under a fair bit of pressure. Melbourne players try and sort this out, and they do. And they set up the left-footed Anthony Ingerson to kick the ball in the direction of Krasisco. Punches meanly away. Needs first to recover. Chips. Try to set up Lyon. And a very good stretch from Gary Lyon. So Gary Lyon, first effective possession today. Will kick from quite an acute angle. But if there's one thing we know about Gary Lyon over the years, that he is capable of doing that extraordinary thing. So from probably 25, 30 metres, Lyon, deliberate shot at goal. Oh, the crowd's very happy behind the goals, because I think you'll find that's a goal. First goal to Gary Lyon, and the D's answer back quickly.
Great contest so far, and what was important about this kick was it actually favoured who it was going to. Melbourne, through Cowell once again, put themselves under pressure with an errant kick, but they were smart enough to get it back, and that's a pretty good shot in anybody's language. Tight angle, well done to the skipper.
4.5 minutes remaining, first quarter. One kick the difference. Collingwood rip it out of the middle, courtesy of Russell. It's a high kick towards half forward. Well, the push, I think, may have been accentuated, but it doesn't matter. The whistle has sounded.
Jimmy Steins has to do a little bit better than that one in the ruck. Mark Richardson got first hand on the ball and just set it up nicely.
Now, was Stephen Pitts acting? Let's see what he can do. This to again stretch it to a 2-goal break from 45 metres. Pitch drop punt is away to the right. And one behind goes on the ball.
Well, to answer your question, Sandy, I think the replay said it all. But that's just as much part of football as winning it by legitimate means.
Yep. David Grant to kick back into play. After having spent considerable time at St Kilda, Russell again takes it from Patterson, and Severio is going to have another shot. Tight angle.
Wasn't it great work by Gavin Brown, who 2 against 1 punched the ball back in.
Here he goes. He's kicked it. Goal for goal here at the MCG as Rocker gets his third. Collingwood hold their lead.
Let's have a look at how this eventuates. You'll see that Melbourne tried to do a 2-on-1 situation on Gavin Brown, but Brown's strong enough to get the fist on it, got it to Russell, and that is a monster goal for Collingwood. Great effort by all concerned there. Melbourne just having trouble now getting the ball out from free kicks.
Well, back in the centre, bounce, Turley knocks it on, cluster of players. Francis brilliantly off the ground, chips it out towards the wing. Orchard held. He is held and comes back inside. Watson has to sit. Great kick from young Orchard. Fantastic spot. And I just get the feeling that Collingwood's structure up forward, they really are trying to come back inside a lot more perhaps than what they've done in the last couple of years.
Well, Tony Shaw did emphasise that he wanted to be more positive in an interview I saw with you, Malcolm, and I think that's evident today.
So Shane Watson has kicked his second goal and the Collingwood's fifth.
Good start there to Shane Watson, a player who 2 years ago was really up in the top echelon. He's just been in the wilderness for a couple of seasons. He's had a few injuries, but this is what you're talking about, Mel, where he was looking for the midfield area. We're getting the ball back into that high percentage area and also not being so rocker conscious. Good start to the Pies.
Well, they've booted 5 and they've all gone to 2 players. Shane Watson has 2. Saverio Rocca has 3. We've got just a couple of minutes remaining. And infringement in the square, and it's going to be a ball going the way of Collingwood.
And this is another area where Collingwood has been dominant. They've just got more possession, first possessions out of the middle, and putting the pressure on Melbourne by getting the ball down quickly.
Richardson looks towards Schäuble. He could have been held, but the umpire says no. The mark will be paid to David Grant. Off he goes towards Neitz, running with him as Stynes will do the shepherding. Neitz bounces his way down towards right half forward. Time ticking away. He needs help. He's got to give a little ground here. Back to Stynes again. Neitz tries to do it all on his own. Now Stynes is there. A quiet ball. And the umpire says you're right. So Collingwood have it.
It was a bad sign for Melbourne. Neitz turned around, waited for some support runners. He had Jimmy Stynes about 30 metres away, but none of the midfielders running in support.
We were very lucky there as Andrew Schäuble just about to take off. But, yes, it was interesting. That kick from Collingwood then went to the out wide, and they actually paid the penalty. So there's still some habits of doing that. Kick to centre half forward, almost the mark to Walker. Pit on the ground underneath, and a number of players there. Tony Francis. So with just over a minute to go, Collingwood by 19 points. Handy break. Easter Monday. Traditional rivals, Melbourne and Collingwood. Must have been some great battles over the years with these two clubs. Love it. Ends up with Russell. Brown. He's got Francis in support. And sells the dummy beautifully. Then goes on his left-handed bouncing. Chips it towards Rocca. Great fist from Primke to Lovett. And the D's can get out of trouble here with a good kick. It's gone too far, and Brown couldn't grab hold of it with that kick from Phoebe.
So an opportunity for Obst. Obst picks it up and goes to right half forward. It's bouncing towards the line, and Neitz sees it over.
Yes, Mick McGuan now on the members' wing. He's been picked up by Adam Uze. Just hasn't seen much of the football in the last 5 minutes, but he's had a great first quarter. Got away from Obst early. He's had 7 possessions.
19 points the margin. Stynes trying to do the work from behind. Gets it down towards Viney. Back to Obst again. Obst has a look down towards Gary Lyon. They'd dearly love a goal here before the quarter-time siren, but they may have trouble as Scotty Burns picks it up and kicks it towards the centre. All Melbourne, however, get on with it quickly because seconds are ticking away. Todd Viney. He goes from the middle and he's been beaten by the siren. So it's quarter-time. 5-3, 33, Collingwood lead Melbourne 2-2, 14 the margin. Monkhorst and Stynes to do battle. Collingwood now going to the left of screen, but it's Clarkson who starts the Demons away down towards Neitz. He can't take the mark. The opportunity is there for Adam Uze. The youngster goes down towards Sean Smith. It beats him over the line, and we'll have a throw in.
Wasn't that an exciting jump from Schäuble then from behind? You'd thought Neitz had his eyes on that, and that's a terrific leap he's got.
Throw in the left forward pocket. Melbourne very keen to get the first one in this quarter. Neitz leans in towards Monkhorst. Lovett gets a hurried kick. What sort of a bounce for Krasisko? Well, it's no good at all for him. And Craig Turley has it held by Williams before it goes over the line.
Alistair Clarkson is now going with Buckley. As Paul Williams just shows Craig Turley who can push the hardest.
Schäuble with that leap again, Malcolm. Williams in the thick of things. Lovett's there also, and Neitz. This is Mark Westgarth officiating the bounce. There's Schäuble again. So a stalemate at the moment on that outer side. Schäuble and Neitz both leaning. Francis hotly pursued by Viney. Loses it. Kelly. It's going to come back, I think, because there was no advantage there. And the kick will be taken by Scotty Russell. 5 kicks and a couple of marks in the first quarter for Russell. Off to Mickey McGuan. He can go over the top here to Lee Walker. Draw the player. Now Walker's got a chance to run. And he does. His kick is very wide, however, for Rocker. Needs a favourable bounce. Taken out of it by Primke, who's the first to recover. Now he needs help. He's got to be pinged.
A little bit sloppy by the Melbourne defenders there, because Andrew Obbs was just looking at Mick McGuan, who he's picking up. He was 15 metres away, whilst the player just assessed the situation. Then he chipped it to him. You almost have to expect the unexpected coming from the last line of defence these days.
Gary Lyon kicked a goal from almost this position, but Gavin Brown decides it's a little too tight for him and finds Mick McGuan on a better angle. He wants to improve it even more. It looks too high. It'll come back. And Stephen Patterson will have a shot. He is now just 30 metres out, and the angle should not be a major problem. As Craig Kelly heads back to his rightful spot, and Stephen Patterson
obviously trying to really work Gary Lyon to maybe just bring any injury problems that he has to the fore. We've seen Kelly a couple of times go for the 180-metre sprint from one end of the ground to the other.
Here's the kick from Patterson. Up go the black and white flags. It's another one. So Collingwood move further ahead. They are 6-3 to Melbourne's 2-2. Interestingly enough, free kicks, Collingwood 13, Melbourne 5.
Yeah, and 2 of those free kicks have at least have resulted in goals, and that one to me was once again a bit of a 50-50 decision that went Collingwood's way. They can hurt you at the end of the day, though. Free kicks within 25 metres.
So umpire Mark Westgarth puts it down again. 25-point margin now to the Magpies. Dangerous time here for the Demons. Viney working hard underneath. Grant caught. Players going to ground. Must be 20 players around that ball at the moment. To Wright, who's done some exceptional things. Into the path of Buckley, goes over his head and is called.
Oh, that's wrong. That is dead set wrong. The umpires get that wrong most times.
Clarkson to love it. Has a blow out wide. Neitz. Neitz has to stop. Screws it round. A magnificent kick from David Neitz. So a quick reply there from Melbourne, and they close the gap by 6 points.
Was that the one perfected by Russell Ebert, Malcolm?
Yes, it was.
But it is amazing. The umpires every time think just because you put it over your head, it's a throw. Well, if you hit it with your fist, it doesn't matter where the other hand is. That's play on. But anyway, Melbourne thought that they deserved one back from a free kick, and they got it. It was a pretty good kick too from Neitz.
Yes, and that quite often happens too, Drew. It just squares up the game of footy, doesn't it?
19 points again, the margin. Couple of quick goals to start this second quarter. Steins on all fours, loses it this time, and Collingwood may get a chance for another one because Richardson, who's 65 metres from home, has the kick. Passes in towards the left forward pocket, and the mark taken by Scotty Crowe. Drifted down into that zone. The former Hawk is going to be kicking from just inside 50 if he decides to have a shot.
He's asking somebody to go back into the square because he's going to have the big ping.
And he kicks from 49 metres. It's a fair looking kick too, isn't it? No worries about that. Crowe gets his first. Collingwood get their 7-3, plays 3-2.
Well, Crowe knew exactly what he was doing. He did it very well, but it actually is once again a very quick reply to a Melbourne goal, and that's been their problem. They haven't been able to gather momentum by getting a couple of goals in a row just at the present time. And I think it all stems back to the middle of the ground. Melbourne's playing more of a reactive game, whereas it's the Collingwood centre players that are very proactive.
Steins and Munkhurst at it again. Munkhurst pushes forward. A lot of players. To Cow. Gives it to Phoebe. Quick kick on his left foot. Neat special mark. To Clarkson inside. Has to cop. Now kicks Lyon and Kelly over the back of the pack. Running onto it. Sampson. Certain goal. So goal for goal here at the MCG, and Melbourne, another quick reply to a Collingwood goal.
Well, we've definitely got a game on our hands because Melbourne just starting to grow in confidence, and I think David Neitz is the important player in the Melbourne forward line that needed to lift. Good mark there from Clay Sampson. It all gets back to getting the ball out of the centre, getting it into the forward line quickly, and it gives you peripheral players, the half-forward flankers like Clay Sampson, something to run onto.
Collingwood threatened to go away with it with the first goal of the second quarter, but two quick goals to Sampson and Neitz, and Melbourne hang on. Back to a 19-point margin. Steins with spring in his step gets a big one towards half forward. Walker overruns it and eventually pushes the ball further down into the danger zone. Love it. Almost has his jumper taken off. Graham Wright pounces upon him. Look at them round that ball.
You've got to admire Andrew Obbs there. It's twice now he just threw his body into the fray. The first time only at the start of that pact. Just paved the way for one of his teammates. He's an outstanding in-close player, Andrew Obbs.
Between centre and half forward for Melbourne. And at least 20 players around that ball. And Scotty Russell had it spent. David Neitz may make him pay. He does! Here come the D's.
There's no doubt he's the man for Melbourne. He can fill the hole. He can really turn this game around. And Melbourne have just taken control. We said earlier that they were just playing reactive football. All of a sudden, a couple of individual efforts, and they're the ones now making the play. They're guys in the middle of the ground have got a couple of good gets out of from the centre bouncers. But more importantly, David Neitz has put some score on the board.
Yes, amazing 5 goals in about 8 minutes here in the second quarter. In fact, 5 in 5 minutes. Just passed on from the statistician. Trying to break through his Hopgood. Gee, it's tight. There's a lot of players around the ball. Viney under pressure. Falls to nearly to Orchard. Steins. Great tackling here. Fantastic bustle. Oh, they've forced it down like a rugby scrum of Collingwood. Hopgood back into it. Orchard does well in tight again. Players chasing it like mice after a piece of cheese. Fantastic play from all players, and Collingwood have forced that ball some 40 metres towards their goal without anyone really taking a clean possession. Richardson from behind sets up McGuan. Surely a goal to Mickey. Michael McGuan. I saw an article during the week about Michael Sheehan was talking about the catalyst of Collingwood is Mick McGuan. He's certainly showing it today.
Yes, particularly his first 15 minutes in the first quarter, outstanding. Once again, some pace problems there for Melbourne. And Mickey McGuan, it's amazing how your legs just run that little bit quicker when the goals are coming up.
What a time. 6 goals in approximately 7 minutes. Who's going to win it out of the centre this time? Obbs to charge, but there's a whistle that sounded. It's going to come back, and it's going to be Collingwood through Walker. He's had his injury problems. He'd be delighted to be back. Turley's got to leave his man and affect the spoil on the Buckley, but he's not good enough to do so. Buckley's Wimbanner goes onto the chest of Darren Cowell. Cowell to Steins. Look out because Monkhorst is there. He's got support in Primke. Primke gets the hand pass away. Melbourne have lifted to Clarkson. Clarkson has a look down towards half forward. No one able to complete the mark. Russell taps it wide, and it's going to come back because Kelly was held in the bottom of that pack. He couldn't get up. And Craig Kelly will take the free kick. Plays on straight away. Goes to the outer side and Graham Wright. Wright a little bit of time to find Gavin Krosiska. Sean Smith's right on his hammer. He's beaten him for pace. Krosiska brings him to the ground. And they run out of room on that outer side.
It's interesting with that Buckley kick, Jared. I always have maintained that guys that have to kick that quickly, particularly on their non-preferred side, really shouldn't do it. They just should try and chip, let the player run into it. Try and pinpoint under pressure. Very difficult skill.
Yeah, he did really try to spear that one into even more difficult.
Viney's kick to half forward. No one able to take it. There was Neats and there was a Moncourse. It's picked up by Adamuze, who's away to the right.
Well, he was unfortunate there because he did have the advantage of being a left footer, and it's amazing how many times they wrong foot most players. He balked in his way back into some space but just didn't finish off. And this is classic Collingwood now, the chip kick from full back and an accurate pass.
So Tony Francis between half back and back pocket now looks across the other side. Graham White's by himself, and here they go with a switch. Unfortunately, the boundary riders are still out for Melbourne, so they'll have to hold this up. Really no support there for any Collingwood player.
Ooh.
Now there is. What a wonderful kick to Buckley. Sets up Crow. Trying to draw a play. He does. Over to Kevin Brown. Brown now kicks it high. Have a jump at that, boys. They did. Falls to Williams. Gives it off to McGuan. And another one for Mickey. Oh, the Collingwood faithful have gone absolutely troppo here. Their heroes back in town, and the Collingwood side now is a goal-kicking machine.
It's been a great game of football, this. Great effort there from Graham Wright to spot Nathan Buckley, and Collingwood have got a big advantage by having both Buckley and Graham Wright, two 60-metre plus kickers, getting the ball over the last line of the zone defence. And once you can penetrate that zone, you are so vulnerable to counter-attack that you are in a lot of trouble, and we saw there McGuan on the end of some pretty good midfield work.
24 points is the margin now in favour of the Magpies. Moncourse wins it again, and he was down looking for McGuan. Taken away, however, by Viney. Back to the half-forward line. Clean bowls everyone, including David Neats. Look at the pick-up of Buckley. Steady as she goes. He gets the hand pass away towards Scotty Crow. Collingwood are out of trouble. Back to the centre. Again at clean bowls, Steins and Moncourse. To half forward. Clarkson takes the mark. Well, he's going to be paid, but look out. He set up Phoebe. Watson gives it to Wright. Collingwood are clear again. Back towards centre wing. Hopgood couldn't quite pull in a one-hander, but he's quick to recover. Go! Caught by Williams. Fine tackle. Here are the pumping legs of Mickey McGuan again. Up to half forward. Towards Richardson. Fisted away from him. He keeps it in play as he goes back to McGuan. Good smother by Cowell. Great pressure football going on at the moment. Patterson picks it up. Spirals it back towards the 50. Wanted Williams. Steins is there. He went without it. Williams may get it yet. The umpire letting them hang on to it for a while this time before coming in and taking the bounce. Gavin Brown. Todd Viney. Great desperation by both sides again, though, isn't it? Great to watch.
If you're not pumped at the MCG today, you've
got a problem.
A pretty hard charge.
You've had too many Easter eggs, chocolate poisoning or something. Here we go. Orchard kicks to the front. Locker has to sit and wait. Primke does well with a fist. Players wait, dwell. Clarkson back to the middle of the ground. Buckley runs onto it. And Nathan Buckley can set something up here. There's no one really back in the square.
Might kick it.
Now Steins drops back. Here they go. Is there some set up here? Oh, there is. Rocker somehow or other got 15 metres on Primke. The kick missed again because Buckley tries to kick it too hard at him instead of trying to set it up and puts his teammate under pressure, and Rocker kicks it out of bounds on the fall. Another time, Gerard, just let him run into it. Amazing. Almost a waste.
Love it. Short to Steins. With under 10 minutes remaining now in the first half here at the MCG. Phoebe unable to take it on the half volley. Oh, but keeps going. Keeps it in play. Goes towards Brett Lovett.
He did well through against one there, Lovett.
Yeah. As they set upon him, McGuan has it stolen by Viney. Todd Viney, long and low, up towards line. But Schäuble chips it in front to take a timely mark for the Maggies. The youngster from Xavier goes to the outer side. Walker, a good mark.
Reconstruction last year, I think it was his second.
It was.
That's why Collingwood have recruited him. He's obviously got great talent.
Crow's been busy in the second quarter. He looks down towards the forward pocket region. Disappointing kick over.
Pressure getting to both sides. Midfielders just kicking away possession. That was a pretty ordinary one.
It's been pretty hectic for about 10 minutes though. Jared, your legs just start, your legs just start not to quite hit the target sometimes. Steins does well at the back. Awkward bounce. Love it onto the ground. Has to handball backwards to Patterson. Francis by himself. Surely on his left foot. Goes for goal. And it's another one for the Maggies. First goal to Tony Francis. And Collingwood now 10 goals. Long time since Collingwood would have kicked 10 goals at this stage of the game.
Well, Collingwood could finish this game in the next 5 or 6 minutes, because you look at the reaction of the Melbourne players there. They have battled their guts out for 10 minutes, as much as Collingwood, but they're now 5 goals down on the scoreboard, and after 10 minutes of hard slog, it all turned around and did cost them. So an important few minutes for the Demons.
10-3 plays 5-3. Crunch time now for Melbourne. They need a couple smartly, but Watson has other ideas as he gives the hand pass away. McGuan has been hectic. Richardson will have a shot for number 11. 12 and 4 for Mickey McGuan. The old legs pumping like a steam train around the MCG.
And look at Mick, just getting those legs going fast enough to get clear and finding Mark Richardson, who hasn't had many touches, but he's given them a focal point.
This for his first goal, he's pulled it to the left.
Well, that wasn't a good shot at goal.
Well, they'd kicked 5 straight before that blemish.
That'd have been a golfer, he'd certainly be pulling out a new ball.
We know all about that.
Yes.
Cal to bring it back into play for Melbourne. Down by 31 points. His time is up. Look out, here comes Buckley with a big fist to McGuan. Down to Williams. Williams' kick is again off the side of the boot and into the left forward pocket.
Great punch once again from Collingwood. Almost, well, should have created their second goal from Melbourne's kick-ins. Gavin Brown did it well in the first quarter.
Melbourne not out of it yet. Here's a snap by Patterson. And there's another goal to Collingwood. The signs go up. The Pies are on the march. 2 to Patterson.
Well, eventually it was a goal coming from a punch back in. I'll get it out.
When in doubt, give up.
Good effort there by Patterson, who's been busy on the forward line. And here's a couple of players having a stouch there. Cockatoo Collins going with Paul Williams. He's tag team with another Melbourne player, 2-on-1, but we're back in business in the middle.
Watson runs at it, has to kick it. Really lost a bit of ground there, but there's a nest of magpies out there. Ends up with Francis. Now comes back in the middle, and they've been doing this pretty consistently. Rocket, oh, good body work. Now onto his left foot. The big Sav has missed. So great build up there from Collingwood. Once again went to that favoured spot in front of the square.
11-5 plays 5-3. David Grant approaching a milestone in his career. This is his 193rd game, so he'll hopefully join that elite 200 club in the next couple of months. Jim Steins is going to have to come off, I think, because of the blood rule, which you can see there.
I think he did that shaving this morning, that one. It's amazing that we have to stop the game for this.
Well, he's going to leave the arena, and Craig Nettlebeck comes onto the ground. Well, that is just tidied up.
They brought David Neitz onto the ball just while Jimmy gets his face cleaned up.
Grant again.
They've battled in the kickouts here, Melbourne, and probably need to go the long option just to settle down.
That's what they've done for Neitz, and he doesn't let him down.
Hasn't he improved today? Pretty ordinary last week against the opposition Geelong, but back in business today.
Gives it to Phoebe, who looks towards Nettlebeck. gets his first touch since coming off the bench because of that blood rule. Back to Phoebe again. Just the one of the brothers playing today. It's Matthew, and it's a kick that drops short to Gavin Krasiska. Krasiska plays on. He's got the very good doctor way by himself. Watson gives it to Buckley. They're closing in on him, but he does it so casually and so easily. Then he goes in towards full forward, but again the kick lets him down, and again Malcolm throws his hands in despair as Cockatoo Collins' hand pass is beautifully intercepted by Williams. No wonder they were having a stoush. It finishes with Orchard. What can he do in the pocket? Gives it across to Patterson. Back to Orchard. Still in the pocket. He snaps and he slams it into the woodwork from behind.
Well, the Nathan Buckley kicking has been a topic of great discussion over the last 12 months. I remember we talked about it on a night game as Jimmy Stein's there. We can see why he's off the ground. We did mention that Buckley perhaps was a great looking kick, but the result wasn't always there. Well, he turned around, the next 5 kicks hit blokes on the chest. Well, today he's probably gone the other way, and he's won the ball beautifully. He's still been effective, but he's got to get more out of his kicks.
Alex McDonald. And just indecision then from Seacamp really did cost them. Buckley's found a hole at the back. Well, look, the thing that impressed me, Jared, was that as soon as Krasiska took that mark down there, the whole Collingwood players just said, well, look, we're going to run and create something here. And they just took off. It was just brilliant to watch. It was almost like a turnover in soccer, and all the players just then swapped and went the other way. So Nathan Buckley.
It's a real mindset change, isn't it? From defence, then into attack, and back.
Nathan Buckley, deliberate shot at goal. It's a beautiful kick. That is a lovely kick there, 12th. First goal to Nathan Buckley.
7-goal quarter, Jared, for the Pies.
Well, when Tony Francis kicked his first goal for the match 3 goals ago, you did see almost to a man the Melbourne heads just dropped. And since then their intensity has backed right off, and it's amazing sometimes you battle your guts out for 10 minutes. If things go against you, it's pretty hard just to keep on pushing on. But Melbourne have to come back hard here in this next couple of minutes if they're going to be still in this game at half-time.
Well, it's a crucial 4.5 minutes. Hopgood goes too high, gives away the free kick. McDonald will take it. Passes up towards the 50. They're just creating the spaces. Stephen Patterson has kicked a couple. He goes into the pocket again. There he is, Nathan Buckley. Glenn Lovett determined to be as miserly as possible and to make the angle as difficult as possible. Distance will not be a problem.
He's going to get pretty close to the man on the mark on this one.
And in doing so has pulled that ball to the left.
Actually, all the shots on this pocket have all gone left.
Yep. 12-7 plays 5-3. Paul Primke again, but it's 79-33.
It is a very difficult ground to kick goals at the MCG because the wind does swirl, and at centre half forward it might be blowing into your face, and down at the goals it might be going sideways.
Primke goes long again. Lovett shovels it out and he gives it across to Todd Viney. Viney's got Glenn Lovett, but he elects to go even wider to Clarkson. This looks promising as he goes to the forward line, and a good mark taken by his skipper in Gary Lyon.
The regulation training drill up the ground.
Yeah, it's a good effort there by Gary Lyon. The kick wasn't centimetre perfect, as one of our colleagues would say, but he did do well. He's certainly moving more freely this week than last. If ever the Demons needed one, this is it.
Kicked one in the first term. Did the veteran from Kyabram. From 40 metres he leans back on a drop punt and has missed. Well, they kicked 3 goals. They have kicked 3 goals for the term, but all of those came in probably the opening 7 or 8 minutes when there was a flurry. And since then, Collingwood has dominated as Russell brings it back into play.
Wants to draw players and does. Sets up Francis. He's come this side a lot of times with a Collingwood kick out. Now has to sit and crop. Uses the body pretty well, Richardson on Neitz. Love it. Smart handball. And Ingerson got a finger on it. Smith wants to give it up back to Ingerson. Gee, they're really making hard work of it. They really are making hard work of it. And Watson back inside, gives it up to Lovett, to Phoebe, pushed off the ball. Krasiska needs a cool head here and does, and kicks it high in the air back to Ingerson. Well, about 7 or 8 touches then, and we really got nowhere. And back to the player probably that it all started with. Just couldn't quite control the footy. Kicks straight to Krasiska.
Two and a half minutes remaining in the first half. Gavin Krasiska has Richardson on his own. The interchange being made. Melbourne players running everywhere, and so too is Tony Francis. Goes towards centre wing. Russell. 7 kicks, a couple of hand passes to Scotty Russell. Down towards Severio Rocker, in trouble. Out of trouble is Sam. Over the top goes Sam, and he's goal! Four goals to Severio Rocker. 13 to the Maggies. 13-7 plays 5-4.
An 8-goal quarter has been outstanding from Collingwood. They brought the ball back down from deep defence once again. And Sav does like going onto his left foot. I reckon he'd practice this one. And Melbourne players just not pushing back enough for the Savaloy to bounce one through.
You reckon he practiced the bounce too, do you?
It's a bit like the Gary Ablett one last Friday night. He's perfecting that one now.
Steve McBurney puts it down. Great jump in the centre. Russell, clean as a whistle out of the air, kicks it forward. Melbourne players back there in Primke. Now Orchard runs at him, and the youngster's done a few good things by just running at players. Quickish, smart young player, hasn't had a lot of the footy, but done a lot of those little things that just keep the football in.
Let's just see if this one should have been a free kick.
He actually did dispose of it cleanly by hand, so that's the new rule, which is fair enough. There was a free kick going to Zav Rocker for a push. And the Collingwood faithful are very happy about that behind the goals. And 4 goals so far to Zav. And one of these was from a free kick early in the first quarter. And a second one with a free kick. And here we go. He believes that Prinky's hanging on to let Steins jump at it. And I would suggest that the umpires probably got this one right. So Zav Rocker going for goal number 5. Very deliberate approach. Kicks. And I think he's got it. A point, that is. Marvellous. Happens to us all. I thought the crowd were trying to convince him, and
well, they always do that.
Yeah.
They're working on the goal umpire.
Well, I didn't see the Melbourne players started walking back to the middle, but they're actually going back to their sort of mini huddle. Tricked me.
David Grant goes to the outer side. Walker will be up with a big fist here. It's an effective spoil. Could have almost been a demon free kick for holding. Seacamp was at the bottom. Primke tries to get it out. He does so effectively in the end. A little chip by Neitz is okay. He finds Phoebe. Inside the last minute of the first half. In a half that has now been controlled by Collingwood as Nettlebeck has it on the outer side. Up towards Sean Smith. Oh, got his fingers to it. Now right. Smith again flicks it out. Time ticking away. Seacamp gets caught. Collingwood may get out of it. Phoebe in the middle. Goes back to half forward again. McGuan comes over the top of Lovett. A snap is high going in towards full forward. Lyon needs to take a mark, but he can't. And it's over the line in the right forward pocket for Melbourne. Gary Lyon kicked 1 goal in the first quarter, and time will probably beat them in this second for any further score. There's the throw in, Richardson over the top. There's the siren. So it's half time here at the MCG. Collingwood are 13-8, 86, leading Melbourne 5-4-34. Melbourne down by 52 points, going to the left of screen. It'll be Jim Steins up against Damien Monkhorst, and the Monkey gets a big run at it. And he pushes down to half forward. Hopgood's in trouble. Gets a hurried left foot kick going across the face of the ground. Walker belts it down. Cockatoo Collins comes to meet it. He had a bit of a how do you do in the first term, but Walker shows aggression as he charges the ball again and sees it over the line. So a throw in between centre wing and right half forward for Collingwood. Monkhorst, a tap over the back, taken by Cockatoo Collins. He'll say it was a sensational pass to Seacamp, and we'll believe him. Seacamp to Clarkson, who thought about going on with it, but now goes back. The former North Melbourne boy goes towards 50. Shoyable, does he spoil Neitz? No, he doesn't. David Neitz juggled it. He'll look towards the high-flying Sean Smith, and there he is, but he can't take that one cleanly. Monkhorst taps it out wide to Francis. Now Collingwood is away. He gives it across to Scotty Crowe, who looks down towards centre wing. Francis has made space. Are they peeling off down towards half forward? No, Tony Francis decides to backpedal and go towards Tony Russell. Scotty Russell. He gives it across to Buckley. Buckley onto the left foot. Gets a long kick up towards left half forward. Fisted up into the air by McGuan, and he'll get it again. Now they're clear, or are they? Not quite. Luck's of fortune. Williams takes the mark. Plays on to Watson all alone. He'll have to go back. Well, there wasn't a Melbourne player within 10 metres of Watson. But it will go back to Paul Williams. Runner-up in the Copeland Trophy last year after an excellent season. Just 3 kicks today. Goes with the low trajectory drop punt. Shoyable couldn't take the mark. And Rocker and Cockatoo Collins see it over the line. Now down to the boundary line. Dipper, any medical news?
Yes, Andy. Gavin Brown has an ankle injury. They're just retaping it. We might see him back on the ground if he's needed.
So boundary throw in, forward pocket, start of this third quarter. Oh, great tap from Steins. Really set up Pinkerson. Falls now to Crowe. Has players inside if he wants. To Big Monkey and Damien Monkhorst. Hands and knees. Off to Buckley. Buckley racing through. Doesn't quite hit the ball right. Falls in the direction of Richardson. Trying to get round. Now can. Oh, sets up Francis. And Francis turns the ball. And not his foot really. And kicks it wide for the first score to Collingwood. So 13-9 to 5-4.
And he would be disappointed with this one because it was relatively easy shot at goal. But I think Melbourne are asking a hell of a lot of Craig Nettlebeck to match up on Nathan Buckley.
First score of the second half going in the way of Collingwood. Watson and Primke. The latter has paid the mark and he goes to Lovett, who's got Steins further down the ground. He just snuck away from Damien Monkhorst. Left the ground with the blood rule in the second quarter and has the right cheek taped and goes on with it now. Chipping to the half forward line, Nettlebeck. Towards Phoebe. And he marks still outside 50. Smith provides the lead. He elects to go even shorter and finds Lovett. Brett Lovett, well, if he holds his spot, he'll play game number 200 next week.
He spent the best part of the first half on the bench. Got a run with about 7 or 8 minutes to go. But he is a player, when in form, is very, very creative with his handball.
This is his first kick since coming on. Puts it out in the centre. Oh, the Flyers were there again, and it's eventually taken over the line. Lyon and Smith and co. That's Lee Walker. 13-9 plays 5-5. So both sides just adding the one behind so far in the second half.
So Russell, as he's done many times today, now wants to draw the players. Handball back to Francis, if they're done repeatedly. Now back up the middle. This is a pretty attacking Collingwood side now. The kick wobbles forward again from Buckley. Players run at it. Falls to Primke. But there's a free kick given. Now Paul Player and Hopgood has to get onto his bike and go quickly to Lovett. Lovett has Lovett. Brother Lovett, Glenn that is, out wider. He chips in front of Nettlebeck, right over the back with a pretty good small. Little man on big man, and the little fella does pretty well.
Yeah, good work from Graham Wright there to cover for Nathan Buckley's man. As we saw, Buckley was charging up the centre of the ground, and Wright was smart enough to come across and cover for him.
Nettlebeck and Buckley again. Clarkson in trouble from Francis. A cry of ball from the Magpie Army. '87 plays 35. Crow to take the free kick. He's on half-back and has done some good work. Kicks it in towards the centre. Taken by Tony Francis. But it's a Melbourne free.
And the Bronx cheers.
Looking for the 50. And he's got it.
Bronx cheers because the Melbourne fans aren't happy with the free kick tally. It's currently 9-18.
It was hardly evening up. It was at one stage 13-5.
But they're really logically, there's no reason why the free kick should be even.
No. Love it from 53 metres. Off to the right. And one behind.
Yes, they really need to work at every goal here, don't they? Just chip away and get one, then get another one.
Here he goes again, Nathan Buckley. Oh, well, for a moment anyway. Watson's caught. This may give Nettlebeck a chance to find Lovett. He's at 55 metres out this time. Kelly's on the last line of defence and cool as a cucumber. He takes the mark and plays on to Graham Wright. Wright is away in the back pocket. Has a look down towards centre wing. He wants Walker. It goes over his head towards Williams. Williams has got Russell and Co running. In fact, he uses Crow, who was one of those in company. Watson. Collingwood look dangerous again. McDonald goes up to the forward line and Severo says thank you.
That was just a great mark from Severo. He was actually out of position, but he worked his way to the front. The kick from McDonald favoured him. Collingwood under pressure the whole way down here, right from defence, but Melbourne just unable to take the ball off them. The skills of Collingwood with the severe pressure have stood up.
Wasn't that a great kick from McDonald? Just let Zav run into it rather than what we talked about with Buckley, trying to ping it at him.
It was really, the kick had to really find Rocker because Rocker was out of position. Set him up nicely.
This for number 5. This to stretch the lead even further. Rocker from 42 metres started at left and it stays there. One behind, so he's kicked 4-4. For a little over half a footy.
Yes, he kicked 2-5 last week and they were talking about that perhaps costing the game, but I'm a great believer if you get in the footy you can work on your kicking. The hardest part's trying to get the footy sometimes. The kick out to Ingerson. Undecided, now sets up Lovett. Williams across easy. Has Patterson lone in the pocket. Great scoop. Rocker's also there in the goal square. Patterson goes though and has kicked a great goal. 3 goals to Stephen Patterson, the goal kicker from Norwood.
And that's exactly what he is. He has shown ever since coming to the AFL that the one thing he can do best is find the sticks. And right from the word go, he was going straight at the majors, and he did it pretty well. 3 goals in a game of footy for a flanker is a pretty good effort.
So Collingwood stretched their lead. Seacamp under pressure. Buckley also. Neats similarly. And ball up.
Buckley is now changed with Mickey McGuan. McGuan now picking up Nettlebeck. Buckley into the middle.
Big pack of players again on this ball. Schäuble belts it down, goes straight to Grant. His kick, well, it could have been marked on that occasion. Melbourne will get out of this because they've got the numbers there. It was taken away by Clay Sampson. Down towards Lyon. Is he going to be quick to recover? Neitz is in there to assist. He shows courage as he charges the football. He should get a free kick and he will.
Craig Kelly, I think, just offering Gary Lyon a contract in Club 10. Good effort by Neitz here. He's leading from the front. May well be the captain of Melbourne in years to come.
Has kicked 2 goals, both of those in the second quarter. He was an All-Australian player last year, one of the best for the D's, and he floats that in towards goal and into the woodwork. So really, that's Melbourne's day at the moment. They're 5-7. Collingwood are 14-10. Mick Maguire. This ground, the scene of some of his great triumphs, heads towards Lee Walker. And it'll be a Melbourne free kick for one high to be taken by Clarkson.
Lots of possessions, Clarkson, in the first half. 16 to half time. I think this is his first in this quarter. No doubt that was a free kick, too high.
Has kicked goals in his career at North Melbourne. Kicked over 60, in fact. Goes from 50 metres. That will certainly test him. He's away to the right. Lyon was the big flyer at the back, and it's a behind to Melbourne. So really that second quarter by Collingwood, as we have a look at their interchange players, has taken the sting out of this game at the moment. 94 plays 38. And Clarkson is being told to leave the ground because of the blood rule, as you can see, to the mouth. So the Melbourne players who are running around the boundary line are all sprinting back now.
Yes, I think I'd be first back.
Well,
you never know. You can always learn something in the game.
A couple of tracksuits came off, but Andrew Hobbs, he was in second spot. He did sprint and he's got the job.
Also on the bench was Craig Turley and Adam Uze.
Scott Russell kicks to himself, as we've seen so many times, and ends up with magnificent Mickey Maguire. Back into the centre. Oh, look, they're doing this pretty well, actually, Collingwood. Crow gets it back again, and they're all running. Oh, this is a confident Collingwood side today. Beautifully stopped there by Primke. That is 50 metres. That is called time wasting, and that was the rule was designated for, and I believe a correct call by the umpire. So Mark Richardson trying to just hold the game up a bit there as the players peeled off Primke, who goes very short to Nettlebeck. Craig Kelly standing the mark there. Now goes long. Oh, that's a lovely kick. That is deep into the square. I think that's touched.
Must have been a fingernail.
Yeah, something just hit nicely, and I think Nettlebeck pretty fresh in the legs compared to most players probably. Just hit it beautifully.
Buckley. Long from fullback again. Moncourse didn't try to mark, probably could have in the end. So it opens the door for Seacamp, who gives it to Viney. On to Lovett, who's forward of centre. Well, Melbourne at this stage of the quarter have stopped the Collingwood goal scoring compared to the second quarter, but there's still a long way to go. Sean Smith takes the mark, 25 out. They've added just 5 points for the quarter, Melbourne, so they've had their opportunities.
Once again, a leap from one of the best in the AFL. Standing jump, he can go straight up and over.
From 30 metres, Sean Smith looks good, and he kicks it. He gets his second. He kicked one in the first term at that end, and Melbourne will go to 6-9. Collingwood are 14-10.
Well, it would have been frightening playing in the VFA a couple of years, lining up on Sean Smith. He would have taken some speckies there. Would have climbed all over the top of a few backmen, I would have thought. But Melbourne, they're just trying to work their way back into it. They're not playing very instinctive football here, but they're still pushing forward.
Back in the centre. Lovett kicks out wide. Obbs by himself will take a mark. So some 75 metres from goal.
Push a crowded forward line.
Kicks long. Smith with a sit. Cowell off the ground. Can't get hold of it. And Collingwood rush it across the line. Shawble. Oh, look, I saw him. He had the sit, didn't he? And Darren Cowell, really, another goal there. Just might have set some motion.
Bad luck for Darren Cowell. Was that mad cow disease, do you think? Ain't he joking, Darren?
It's all happening. Line punches it back to Lovett. Just trying to get a few touches, Brett Lovett. Pumps it back in again to centre up. Again! Oh, Krasiska right there with him. Oh, kick it up in the air again. I want to have another look at it.
Gee, he floats, doesn't he?
My word.
Here's the original one, Jared.
That's a terrific jump from not very many steps. Krasiska was good with the pressure with the body. That's why I didn't mark him. And he was there for the second one as well. Cowell to Viney from 40 metres out. Viney shoots. And the D's just can't get that 2 in a row they need now to put some pressure back onto Collingwood.
It's actually only been 15 minutes in this game that separated the two sides. It just happened to be a 15 minutes where Collingwood kicked about 6 or 7 goals. But once again, Melbourne, after half-time, they've been at least equal with the Pies.
Oh, that's going to be close to out of bounds on the full from Craig Kelly. It is. So Lovett. That's Glenn Lovett. We'll give Andrew Obst a chance.
Interesting. I did some stats on this. There's only 2 players in the Melbourne side that have actually got kicked over 100 goals in their career. It's not a lot.
In fact, Melbourne's an unusual club. They've never had a person kick 100 goals in a season.
Obst from 45 metres. Big pack, and it's Monkhorst at the back and make sure that it goes over the line.
And actually taking that a step further, Drew, there's only 25 players in the history of the game, nearly 11,000 players now, that have actually kicked 100 goals anyhow.
It's like working with Julius Sumner-Miller, isn't it?
Actually, Melbourne, Collingwood just having trouble getting this out of these point kickings, and they've done this many times again, Russell. They're really trying to set this up. Whoa. And ends up with Viney. Surely something's got to happen here for the D's. It has. It's working very well. And Craig Nettlebeck unfortunately couldn't get that kick to the front of the square. And once again, the boundary throw in.
It's a classic example of a set play. Because of the shape of the footy, set plays can only ever be blueprints. Because if it bounces slightly one way or another, or the footy doesn't quite go to the spot you expect it to, you've got to still use your nous to get the right target.
Yes, it's true. Better than having no plan at all, though, I reckon, Jared. Some plan is better than no plan. As Brett Lovett forces that ball forward again, and just starting to pick up some touches. He's had 11 touches since he's been on. There's free kicks there. Melbourne 4, Collingwood 1. Interesting. Collingwood are under pressure here, and they're fighting pretty well, as is Craig Kelly.
Melbourne's pushed Neitz down to the forward line. Gary Lyon, I would suggest, has gone out to the half-forward line.
And a free kick to Viney. Chips inside to Steins. Steins can run off. Gets a help by Lovett, and then kicks poorly. Falls to the front of the square. There's enough players there. There's enough Melbourne players, but it's beautifully thumped back. It's gone 40 metres away from goal. Tremendous pressure on all players here, and a ball up.
Well, to their credit, Melbourne have come out fighting after half-time. I guess they had no other option because it was looking like an embarrassing scoreline. They just can't get goals on the board.
Monkhorst gets a big fist, but it goes straight to Lovett. That was Brett. Gives it away towards Nettlebeck's high bomb. Is going to be very close, but it's away to the right from behind.
Sometimes you only have to get the 1, and 2 and 3 and 4 will follow in an awful hurry.
Well, they've kicked 1 goal 9 for the quarter.
The problem is going to be time with only 5.5 minutes left in this third quarter.
Francis away again to the outer side. Says to Scotty Crow, you want to run? You can. And he's going to have to. Got to get around Lovett. He does so with a hand pass towards McDonald. Under pressure, he gets a kick away down towards left half forward. Gains plenty of distance. Collingwood into their attacking zone for another throw-in.
I think the Collingwood crowd were happy then. There was a kick out that found a teammate, and they could actually do something with it.
Steins and Richardson will contest. Jim Steins closing in on that record held by Richmond's Jack Titus of 204 straight games. He's on 198 today as Big Jim, but he's caught there.
Great work from both ruckmen there. Steins to push and take possession, and then Richardson to tie him up with a desperate tackle.
94 plays 49. Collingwood leads. Steins again, but there's been a whistle and he's given away a free kick. Todd Viney was away, but it's going to be Richardson and Collingwood who are away. To half forward, and Buckley from 50 metres may try and let this one go.
Unbelievably, I think they've kicked 8 points in a row, Melbourne. They won goal 8. Collingwood kicked the first goal. They might get their second and outscore them for the quarter. They kicked 1-9. Amazing.
Buckley from 50. The drop punt is long and it's straight and it's a goal. Plays 6:13.
Well, that's the kick of a class player. You don't find any ordinary players can kick goals from outside of 50, and Nathan Buckley is an excellent player, as we know. He's already won a best and fairest at Collingwood. He was runner-up one year at the Brisbane Bears. Been an outstanding player over the last couple of years for the Pies. A pretty good goal.
So 10 shots to 4 in this quarter, and Melbourne have only reduced the deficit by a single solitary point. That is a pain when you kick behind. Here we go, over to Williams. Kicks back. Players have to sit and wait underneath this. Prinky with a punch and a hand on Mark Richardson's shoulder.
And Malcolm taking that a step further. Melbourne have kicked 1 goal 11 since 8 minutes into the second quarter.
My word, it's a long time, isn't it? Amazing. Can't remember too many easy set shots though. They've basically been probably from an angle more so than you find with the Melbourne side coached by Neil Barn. Mark Richardson. Deliberate shot and hooks it to the front of the square. In fact, further than that. Ooh, rocker almost, but through for a point. So scores are level this quarter with now 10 shots to 5.
Grant a chance. He may need help. He's from half back. Swings it round his body towards centre wing. Pies have the numbers. They're playing in front and they're looking dangerous again. From 50 in towards full forward. Was there holding going on there? No, the umpire says play on. So Cockatoo Collins does. Listen to the roar of the fans. They don't like it. Walker has it on right half forward. Centering kick is going to be good. And the juggling mark is taken by Orchard.
He's done some smart things, Lee Walker.
Mark Orchard has Monkhorst calling for it in the middle. Lets one go towards McDonald. McDonald will chip in towards McGuan. And Mickey McGuan will have a shot from the outer side. 35 metres out, but on a pretty tight angle.
And another example of the point you're making about the kicks there, Malcolm, where it doesn't have to be absolutely pinpoint perfect. If you just give the ball a little bit of flotation. Mick McGuan, you'll see, he just moves slightly sideways, and he can control then his opponent by just getting to the football when he decides.
McGuan going for his third goal. He kicked 2 in the second quarter. He's had 13 kicks, 6 marks and 4 handballs. .35 metres out. Up go the black and white scarves. There's number 3 for Mickey. 16-11 for 6-13.
Yes, I'm sure Neil Baum will be absolutely frustrated in the coach's box because Melbourne have produced a pretty good quarter, except on the scoreboard. And once again, another look at that kick. Mick could have gone and taken it up higher and jumped at it. He just went back with the flight of the ball and took it on the chest. Nice kick and a good mark.
Yes, Neil Baum looks on, and pretty desperate stage now for Melbourne. The pressure will be on, and as Gerard said, you lose 2 and you're a Melbourne club now, 2 in a row at the start of the year, and the white ants come from everywhere. Graham Wright does well. Been a very effective player, that young fella. Hasn't had a lot of the footy, but what he's done is shown class and has an appetite for the game.
You're saying there's a lot of cutlery being shuffled around, is there?
Yeah, round 2. It's great, isn't it? There we go. Boundary throw in. Sampson caught with absolutely no chance, but the Collingwood throng call for ball. It's fantastic when they give the decision. It's isn't it? It's just one of those great things in footy. I love listening to them. There you go. Crow. Oh, Buckley has a country kilometre in front of him and runs onto it. Seacamp's quick. He won the 100-metre dash. That didn't get him. Orchard. I really like this kid. I think he's a smart player. See that kick again? Beautiful.
Well, it gave Rocker time to deviate, didn't it?
Exactly, Gerard.
He wasn't running on that particular line, but because it had some air and it wasn't just going through the air with the speed of sound, Rocker was able to just change direction and take a pretty handy mark.
See, they're getting players running forward to the ball now, Collingwood, which was a bit unusual. Yeah, it's big Severio Rocker. 93 goals last year, so can kick him. He's got a even book today, 4-4. Oh, he's changed that now, 5-4. He's in the positive. 17th goal to Collingwood, and they really forge ahead in this game in this last few minutes of the 3rd quarter.
And here's Nathan Buckley, and I'm sure he is thinking about maybe the long goal here, but he has a look behind him and he sees it's Marcus Seacamp. He was watching the Lightning Premiership. He was absolutely no chance. And a pretty handy little chip kick there to Mark Orchard. And this is the one we're talking about. Just let the forward grab the ball.
It's a Collingwood free kick out of the centre. They're going to have to be quick, and they're going to need a big mark taken down in the forward line if there's going to be any more scoring. Well, he decides to go wide to Williams. It was Monkhorst, and it's 3/4 time as Obst shows a little frustration. Careful, boys, because there's big money that can be taken from you if that sort of thing continues. It's all okay. I don't want to be silly about it. Go on with it.
Well, Melbourne unfortunately are in a no-win position there because when you're trailing on the scoreboard by some 11 goals, you can only make matters worse if you deck somebody or look at Monkey. He's enjoying himself. I think Todd was just encouraging him to turn the body more through his backhand.
Yeah, he's probably saying, well, what did you do for Mark Philippoussis? Anyway. It's all right, boys. I think maybe he might have just been saying, well, if you're in any doubt, have a look at the scoreboard.
At the end of the day, that's all that counts.
That's exactly right. I think just a little frustration.
But I think the last quarter is going to be an important one for Melbourne because 127 point last week. They do need an impressive showing here. They've got to fly the flag and fight this one right out. I think there's much doubt that Collingwood will go on and win this pretty handsomely. But they've got to get a positive out of this game, Melbourne, because she's a long season coming up.
Certainly is, and they've got the job ahead of them here at 3/4 time. Collingwood 17-11, 113. Melbourne 6-13, 49.
And I've left one Easter egg just for you, mate.
I knew you'd get into the bulk of them. 113 plays 49. Thank you, Dipper.
Back.
There's an awful bounce, but he won't take it back, Jared. Let Buckley kick it down inside 50 once again. And Cowell defends. Just. Hopgood gives chase. Keeps that ball in play for a moment. Gains probably 10 or 15 metres. And it's over the line.
It's an interesting comment there of Dipper, wasn't it? I think Tony Shaw would have been first in where he's playing.
Well, it's like the old adage of coaching. Do as I say, not as I do.
Throw in on the 50 for the Pies. Flicked over the back by Richardson to accommodate McDonald. Is this the first of the final turn? Yes, it is. Alex McDonald, the former Hawk, gets his first today for the Pies. And they continue to build on this score. 18-11 plays 6-13.
And half a dozen Collingwood players ran to Mark Richardson here, and you see there the tap over the back. No doubt they've practiced this one. They cleared the path for him. McDonald ran into space. He got the ball nicely. So it's a good team effort, and players do lift when they make things happen that they've practiced at training.
Yes, couldn't agree more, Jared. Fantastic play. Monkhurst to Russell. Richardson. Oh, that's a terrific gab. This will be brilliant. Back to McDonald again on his left foot. There's another one.
The signs are up now.
Alex McDonald fitting into this new look Collingwood machine as they storm towards 20 goals. 19-11 to Melbourne's 6-13.
Exciting stuff, isn't it? This is football at its best. Quick get out of the centre. Good communication between Ruckman and Rover, and then Mark Richardson, smart gather. And then Alec McDonald, who started in the middle, gets on the end of it. Wasn't the greatest of kicks, but it got the result.
2 goals in as many minutes to Alex McDonald and Collingwood. Monkhorst out of the centre again. Can they take it away? Yes, they can. Down towards half forward. Belted back by Primke, but to whom? To whom? They ask the question. It'll finish with Patterson in the square. McGuan gets his 4th. The Collingwood army are going mad as the side kick their 20th goal. 20-11 plays 6-13.
Well, once again, another big drive out of the middle of the ground. This is frightening stuff here. Pretty ordinary handball there from Savage. Need to work on that, but great recovery from Patterson. Gets it to Mickey McGuan. 3 quick goals in as many minutes, and Neil Balmer be pulling his hair out.
Yes, been a long time consistently that Collingwood would have kicked 20 goals. Amazing. Buckley. Swipe. Look at the Collingwood players. There's 15 of them want that footy.
Well, that's only Melbourne's second possession in this quarter.
And the Melbourne players actually stayed back. There was a lot of Collingwood players charged at that footy. And ends up with Neats. Not well read. Watson reads it beautifully. So Shane Watson has Russell.
Another solid game from Scott Russell.
He's picked up 30 possessions against Carlton, so he started the season in fine form.
Chauvel now to Watson. Now they can switch play. And running through the centre. Goes to that man, Mark Richardson again. Tries to tap it on over the back. Falls to Walker. Oh, he's got players running out wide. Oh, raffle it. Patterson's the goal kicker. Chips it to Rocker. Nearly super play. To watch it. Onto his left foot. And another big 6-pointer.
First goal to Fruit Trees Orchard, and they're going on with it.
Well, just getting back to the point I was making, we've gone 4.5 minutes in this last quarter. We've had 5 Melbourne players have had a touch of the football, and Collingwood have just careered away. Everybody's getting touches. In fact, everybody's kicking goals, and I haven't seen Malcolm this excited since his wedding night.
Well, every picture tells a story, and Neil Balme, Peter Russo and co in a state of shock as Lubbock tries to get Melbourne down to the forward line. Schauble is there to belt it clear again. Neats is the only one in sight for Melbourne, and Scotty Russell's there. It's over the line. Well, what a start to a final quarter. banging on 4 goals in sensational style. Russell again. A tired Clarkson gives chase, and he elects to go for the hand pass. Look out here. That was Scotty Burns. It's going to come unstuck, and it's back to Clarkson. Kicks up towards centre wing, and Lovett.
He's called that in the act of kicking was a push, so it actually goes back to Clarkson.
I think, yes, and Lovett was saying you've really penalised the side. Grant gets a hurried kick. Under pressure, it's high towards half forward. Kelly flew without the football, but Paul Williams is there to do the tidying up and show a touch of class.
Beautiful play.
Walker, look out. Gets a hurried kick, just about clean bowls everyone, but Jim Stynes is at the back. He tidies up to Hopgood. Has a look downfield, then decides to go long with a floating kick. Smith's got to try and make position. Graham Wright is there for the Pies. Good shepherding by Krasiska, takes out Sean Smith, and he directs play back to the centre, and Williams again.
Once again, Collingwood looking for that centre option, as Malcolm has commented on throughout the day.
Walker was the target. Francis does the roving at the front. He eludes one tackle and gets the hand pass away. Severio Rocker is there. Was he held? A throw in the right forward pocket. Right on his hammer was the former Crow, Anthony Ingerson. Getting pretty dark here at the MCG. It'd be very dark for Melbourne fans. When you look at that score line, it shows a margin out to 88 points.
It's amazing, not having watched many Collingwood games over the journey, but they are exciting to watch, aren't they, with the amount of support they do have, particularly when they're winning.
And at this ground, 30,000 people at this ground make an enormous noise. When there's 50 here, it's deafening.
Kick off the ground, love it, can't control it. It really is a diamond day for the Magpies. To Kelly, Munker standing still, not a great option in the end. Ops wins the ball back and sets up Clarkson out wide. Has a runner in Sampson. Goes long. Smith can't control it. Down to Neitz, tried pretty hard most of the day. Now comes back inside and kicks out Gary Lyon. So finally some productive play there from Melbourne. There's a player on short in Lovett, and Glenn Lovett will kick this from about 45 metres, and they've had some glory days, Melbourne. This certainly isn't one of them.
Gary Lyon just 4 kicks for the day. The fitness cloud certainly hanging over his head. Glenn Lovett, the 92 club champion, in his 98th game, wants to break what has become a bit of a drought for Melbourne, and he's done that. So Lovett gets his first, and Melbourne get their 7th.
And once again, just an individual effort there by Neitz. Really, he was looking for an option, and finally Gary Lyon burst wide for him. Picked out Glenn Lovett. He goaled, but not much to get excited about Melbourne's play today. They were pretty good early, but have dropped away incredibly.
21-11 plays 7-13. Clarkson tries to get out of the middle once again, but the hand pass goes astray to his opposing 23. Burns had it for a moment and then lost it. And at the bottom of the pack is Lyon, but it's going to be a Collingwood free kick. It'll go back. And Alex McDonald, scorer of 2 goals early on in this final term, comes wide to Tony Francis. Francis picked up 12 kicks and 5 hand passes, and he can add another one to the stat sheet now. Not a good one, but it may be okay for Monkey if he can pick it up. It was tapped back. He throws it back towards Richardson. Thought about the hand pass. Still thought about it. Eventually tumbles a punt, and he's kicked a goal! Well, they can do no wrong. Richardson gets his first, and Collingwood carry on. 22-11 plays 7-13.
Well, it's just getting bleaker here for Melbourne. There is no way known that Richardson should ever have got a kick away here. He just waltzed through a couple of Melbourne players, and a pretty good shepherd by Sav Rocker down in the goal square. And Mark Richardson's every right to be elated. Good effort.
Steins goes early in the centre to Lovett. Hands and knees, gives it to Cow. Throws it quickly on the boot. Finds McDonald. He unloads with a back torpedo kick. The free kick to Mark Richardson. Buckley plays on. Oh, why not? Kick another one. 3 goals to Nathan Buckley. And it is fair dinkum running goals as it comes dark here, and I hope we might get a spot of rain before this game's finished. Nathan Buckley been a pretty good player again today.
Yeah, an outstanding player, Nathan Buckley. And there's no question this guy is one of the best kicks in the league when he's just kicking in the normal style rather than trying to spear the ball at a player. 2 beautiful goals in the last half we've seen from the Collingwood midfielder.
149 plays 55. It's just about a century lead. Buckley could have been free kick there, but no. Clarkson is caught and he's been pinned. What a fierce tackle by one of the smaller players on the ground in Tony Francis. The Collingwood players stream away. McDonald's had an excellent final quarter. His confidence would have been sky high with those 2 goals. This time Burns and Walker combined. Again they charge towards half forward. Picked up beautifully on the half volley by Rocker for another one for serve. Oh, what a day for the Pies. Rocker kicks number 6. And they lead by 100 points here at the MCG.
Unbelievable athleticism by Sav Rocker. This was just a great passage of play from Melbourne, from Collingwood. Right from a great tackle across half-back, the ball came down with the Pies, and Sav took them on. And when you get to this point in a game, there isn't much you can do if you're in the opposition camp except try and avoid losing by 100+ points.
Collingwood 7 goals in 12 minutes, and they need just 2 points for their highest score ever against the Demons.
Amazing stats. Throw and kick will come back to Clarkson, who has got a fair bit of the footy, just the polish of finishing off sometimes. Kicks out, sort of. Smith!
Oh.
Line in, it's Nettlebeck in front. In fact, gone back to Smith now with the set. I suppose the only thing you can say, perhaps from Melbourne, that some of these players coming back in for the first time today, it might be better for the run. Yeah, it was a clean grab. Nettlebeck tried to get hold of it. So Sean Smith, who's kicked a couple, one in the first and one in the third. Really a 7-goal onslaught by Collingwood. With still just under 12 minutes to go this quarter. And this is Smith for his third and the second for the Demons, and I think he has kicked it. He has. Three goals now to Sean Smith, and I guess from a forward pocket player, Gerard, you'd have to say that that's a reasonable contribution.
Oh, I think he's been one of Melbourne's better players. There's not much both he and Gary Lyon could have done. They've had rigor mortis down there. They've been that stiff and cold, but the ball hasn't been down there. Melbourne's got to fix their midfield up.
So the Melbourne drought has broken, but Collingwood have gone charging into attack again down towards the half-forward line, flicked out towards Phoebe. He's claimed. Ball spills free and Neitz gets a hurried kick out in front of Lovett. He's got a bit of space, although Russell is closing. Shepherding by Obst. Now Lovett has a bit of space. With one bounce, he has a look down towards half-forward. And a good one-hander taken by Nettlebeck.
Done quite well since coming onto the ground.
Goes short in towards the forward zone, and Sean Smith again. Watson in trouble.
He did have that nasty blow on the shin. I think he probably has copped another knock on it. Spot, you would imagine he'd have a shin guard on.
He is leaving the arena, and Smith is going to have a shot after taking that mark. So here he goes. Got 3. And he's now kicked 4 goals for Melbourne. This main contributor up forward, and that is Melbourne's 9th.
You've got to pay due credit to Sean Smith, because he's only been back in the AFL for just over 12 months, and he has turned into one of the most damaging and dangerous marking forwards in the business, and his kicking a goal today has been quite extraordinary. But I think one of the great problems for Melbourne, looking long term, is their percentage. They started the day at 30.6, and after today it'll be just extraordinarily low.
Yes. Ball thumped wide, and inside their 50 metre, they've only had it 10 more times on our stats than Melbourne, and that is a production rate of enormous quality, really.
And vice versa for Melbourne.
Yes. 47-37. Yes, I think most games, if you think you can get it in 50 times, you'd like to think that you could get 1 in 3, which is 16-odd, 17-odd goals, which, you know, wins a fair few footy matches. And they've taken it in 37 times, which for only 9 goals, which is, you know, is a very low percentage.
Crowd today of 53,268 in attendance.
Boundary throw in. Kicked the last 2 goals though, Melbourne. I mean, the game's gone, but you can always learn something, I reckon, in this situation. Youngster, learn how to position yourself, how to read it, how to learn something about a teammate. As the players fight for the ball, Melbourne into attack. Some 70 metres around from their goal. And that burst from Collingwood has just subsided with those 2 Melbourne goals. And plenty of blue and red streamers, or scarfed people, leaving the ground. Gary Lyon gets a free kick. Gary Lyon kicks long. Smith in front. Can't grab hold of it. Falls to Viney. Screws it around his body. And he has screwed it. He has screwed it. Neil Barr not happy. He has screwed it about 15 rows back.
Graham Wright will bring it back into play. Getting very dark here now at the MCG. Wright goes long towards Monkhorst and Steins. The former just belts a little further in towards the centre. It bounces nicely for Phoebe, who almost gets caught by Patterson. Look at that bounce. Well, when it's favouring you, it really is favouring you. Scotty Crowe kicked a goal in the second quarter. Chips away in towards the middle. Wanted McDonald. Going short was perhaps the wrong option on that occasion, because Lovett is able to steam away. Give it across to Steins. And now Melbourne have a chance to open up something with Clarkson. A centering kick, and he finds Sean Smith. That arm still giving him a few problems. Maybe it's just the bandaging. And we hear now that light rain is starting to fall here at the MCG, as predicted by Malcolm 11.5 minutes ago, so that was extraordinary. Smith has booted 4. Been a good effort by him. And you can now make that 5. 3 in the final term to Sean Smith. And the D's creep into double figures, which does give them some respectability. 10-13 plays 24-11.
Yeah, I'd imagine if that's the biggest plus they get out of this one, they've got a pretty long week ahead of them. But just fell apart incredibly for Melbourne from about the 15-minute mark of the second quarter, when they looked as if they were just developing some confidence, to what we see on the screen now.
Monkhorst belts it. Orchard, good quick hands in there. Ends up back towards him. McDonald throws it onto the boot. Centre half forward. Players run to it. McGuan sat upon. Called to play on. Falls out to Mark Richardson. Rocker with a sit from behind. Pushes Ingerson. Now back onto the footy, and it rolls out of bounds. Forward pocket. And yes, as the light rain does fall.
Alex McDonald has had an outstanding last quarter.
Yes, it's pretty easy. Well, it's easier to come on in these circumstances when your team's in control, isn't it? I mean, that's always the case. And, you know, when he came on, he just probably had a bit of a breather. And a quarter off Just does give you a little bit of time, doesn't it? Just to relax and probably a bit fresher than the other players. Buckley did well there from behind to whack it out.
Of course, Gavin Brown hasn't been seen on the ground since midway through the second quarter, and he went off with an ankle injury. He probably carried it into the game, but there was a cloud over him, and Collingwood, being so far in front of half-time, probably decided not to risk him.
Obst in the line direction, uses his body beautifully. Now tries to set up Smith, but Burns reads it lovely. Has players in the middle in Russell. They've done this pretty well.
Look at this.
They're dangerous. I mean, this is dangerous footy now. I mean, you can get beaten on the turnover as Francis runs from the top of the square, kicks out wide, but Shawball sits underneath it, can't control it. Orchard, as he's done so often today, been the player to put pressure on the Melbourne opposition. And Sean Smith having a well-earned run up the ground.
It's a great chase, wasn't it?
Yeah. Just under 14 goals. I think if you're a betting man, Jared, you probably wouldn't have come up with this result, would you?
No, not particularly after last week's effort by Melbourne. We expected a pretty tight tussle.
Steins back to Lovett. And Lovett kicks. Pack of players. Seacamp. Smith under pressure from Krasiska. Has to go back to Obst. Now decides to have to kick high. Nettle back in front. Can't control it. Lovett on the ground. Oh, he's got a half an hour to kick it. Missed his target in Phoebe, but it does set him up a bit. Oh, he's a left footer, so he'll always go back that way and chips it to line. Kelly with great body pressure and presence sets up Pitt and Pitt's away.
In towards the middle he goes, and Russell again. Can come wide into Francis. Tony Francis has got hectares. Two bounces, 60 metres out from 55. Bends it back, and he finds Stephen Patterson 25 metres out on a 45-degree angle. Patterson's booted 3. Five and a half minutes remaining in this game. And Stephen Patterson, looking for his 4th goal, makes no mistake. Four to Patterson, 25 to Collingwood. 25-11 plays 10-13.
Yeah, 2 in the second quarter when the game was still in dispute. 1 in the third and 1 in the last. Geez, that was a wobbling mongrel punt if you could ever see one. And I think Tony Francis might have produced one of his own here. I'll tell you what, one of the features or the lowlights of the season to date has been the lack of close finishes.
Yep. Yes, it has.
In fact, just on that, Malcolm, this is a new record score for Collingwood against Melbourne.
Yes, amazing.
The closest finish to date in any of the games, that'll be 16 to date now, has been 18 points between Richmond and Essendon in the first round.
Yes, Krimke breaks out of the centre. 10 goal kickers for Collingwood. I think that would please Tony Shearer as much as anything about today. Pitt forced to the boundary line and over. As we're down to the last minutes now, and 25 goals is a great football score. When you can keep the opposition to 10, all the better. So Monkhurst and Nettlebeck. Russell been very handy again. Kicks it wide of the boundary line. Phoebe happy to see it over and right in front of the members.
So the fortune's turning around for Collingwood. They'll get a percentage booster here today. They journey to Sydney next week on the Sunday at the SCG. So a big game for the Pies there as well to really storm back into calculations early on in the season.
Malcolm, if you were in Neil Baum's seat right now, what would your plan of attack be? Other than the obvious, go for the
go for the jugular. Oh, I think what you do is go straight to the hairdressers and get him to cut the hair off rather than lose it naturally. Here we go. Lovett. Back to Lovett. It's happened a couple of times today. On his left foot, no penetration in the kick. And here we go. The Magpies will now switch play. Burns almost. Smith tried hard and given away the free. But they've done that pretty well today. They've been consistent in let's do something different. And many times that's been up the middle of the ground too.
And here's another one.
Back to the middle.
Krasiska. gives it back, and they go charging down towards Big Severio. Rocker.
Well, that is just outstanding football. There's nothing better than seeing a kick like that gives a forward enough chance to run onto it, and a great lead from Sav, who picked it up pretty early that he was going to be in the picture, and he ran straight up the middle of the ground and got on the end of the bullet.
A chance to finish the day as he began it. He booted 3 in the first quarter, and he can finish with 7 if he's successful here. Well, he might get more. We've still got 3.5 minutes to go. Directly in front and kicking from just inside 50. A drop punt. He's snuck it home for number 7. 26-11. They're almost back to 100 points again. 10-13.
Let's just have a look at the way this kick develops. Francisco, there wasn't much pressure on the Collingwood players. Now he's followed up, got the kick again. And a lovely pass to the leading Sav, who does like kicking a bag or two at the MCG.
Yes, they're going to play a few games here. Monkey has to stand and deliver. Whacks it to Sampson. And coming in to pick it up, low down is Scotty Burns. Here they go, the switch. Where's the play? Trying to get it back into the middle now. Just goes on the outside of his boot, so that'll go wide. Walker runs hard at it, but can't beat it before it goes out of bounds. Almost on the 50-metre line. And it's 26 goals. Most un-Collingwood-like, isn't it? I'm sure that the opposition have been at their very best. That's probably the biggest understatement of the day, but they really are flat, Melbourne. Clarkson. Chip to love it. Terrific fist from Crowe. Yeah, that's what I mean. Gerard, I really do think you can learn something in the game of footy and never give up. And I think that's perfect then from Crowe. I mean, he's got to earn his spot in this side, so why not keep doing the hard things? Why concede a kick at all? Great tap from Monkhurst to Francis. Classical ruck work. Unfortunately, the kick goes to Obbs, who takes a pretty good mark. So Andrew Obbs looks in the Nettlebeck direction. Steins chips in front. Usually he wants to handball, and does to Viney. To Nettlebeck, puts him under a bit of pressure. Pitt tackles, probably a late tackle. Oh, Viney just misses, and I'm sure this game will do Todd Viney some good. Yeah. As Sean Smith, who's done pretty well, and Matthew Phoebe.
Couple of minutes remaining. Steins and Monkhorst have been at it for most of the day. Francis at the back. As the great Peter McKenna would say, here they come again. And they do. Through McDonald down towards the rampage. Rocker can't take the mark. Lee Walker may get in the thick of things. Yes, he'll kick a goal. The former Eagle kicks his first. And they're wrapped. 27-11 plays 10-13.
Well, they had high hopes for Lee Walker last year, and unfortunately he had a reconstruction on his knee. Alex McDonald has had an outstanding last quarter and shown that he can be a damaging half-back with his pace. But Lee Walker does give this Collingwood forward line a new look about it. More dangerous, he's mobile, he's tall, and he's obviously a pretty intelligent player, but with him and Rocker and Richardson there, they look pretty potent.
Yes, 11th Collingwood player to kick a goal, and Neil Baum. Yes, it's going to be a long week at Melbourne, and the resurrection process starts always, I believe, on Monday. And Todd Viney swings around. Buckley goes early, and will give away the free kick. And Sean Smith. And with that resurrection process now, of course, the Collingwood box looking on. That resurrection process will start tonight because it is Monday, in fact, Sandy.
I love working with someone sharp.
Sean Smith has kicked 4 goals in the last quarter for Melbourne. A great effort. And they get their 11th and a consolation prize, but on a comeback game to end up with 6 goals. And this last quarter has opened up a bit, Gerard, so goal scoring's become relatively easier than the rest of the match.
And it wasn't a bad time to have a try at mark of the year for Nathan Buckley there also. He did give away a free kick. But somebody had to kick some goals for Melbourne. And fortunately they found Sean Smith, a good effort.
94 points is the margin. Collingwood's got a minute to see if they can crack the century lead again, or Melbourne can try and cut it even further. The desperation, particularly by Collingwood, has been outstanding as Lovett's kick goes down to half forward. Kelly stands strong and firm. Another one originally from Norwood. They're everywhere. Francis has been busy. Goes down towards left half forward. Pies have the players waiting down. That was Patterson. Gives it away to Scotty Burns. His pass is a little too high. And the mark taken by David Neitz.
There's no doubt, though, Mark Richardson, one of his plans is, though, just to bring the ball to the ground, and they've rove to him magnificently today.
Love it. From the back pocket. Plenty of room on that outer side for Clarkson. He can bounce his way round. Up towards left half forward. But this quarter's just about gone for Melbourne. It's been a 10-goal quarter for Collingwood. Tony Shaw, this is when you enjoy coaching. A 10-goal final term. Add to that an 8-goal second quarter. That was the one that set it up. Melbourne finished off with 5 goals, and of course Sean Smith booted 4 of those. Let's go down to the boundary line.
Yeah,
Scotty Russell was sensational, Dipper.
He certainly was, Sandy. Scotty Russell, sensational game by yourself and the Magpies.
Yeah, the boys played pretty well today. We knew they were going to be tough because of last week, and we had to come out and physically match it to them, and we thought we had the organisation and some of the guys to do the job today, and the boys played really well.
And the side's looking quite fresh with some of the new players, McDonald and Crow, and having Mickey McGuan back.
Yeah, no, it's good. We just got to make sure we don't turn the ball over, and they killed us last week. We turned it over too much, and today we've been working all week of making sure we use the players when they're free and that, and so it worked quite well today.
Now it's the first time the Magpies have kicked over 20 goals for a long, long time.
Yeah, we kicked straight today and probably a few lucky ones, but when you play in front and you're hard at the ball, it happens that way, so pretty good.
Your own form's been quite good, you've been proud of it?
No, not too bad. There's a lot of improvement there, but it's just good to get back and run around and try and get a kick.
Well, enjoy the good win, buddy. Well done, well played.
Yes, an outstanding performance by Scotty Russell again. He picked up 30 possessions last week and was certainly busy again today as he joins his teammates to leave the ground. 16 kicks today, 8 marks and 10 hand passes. An excellent performance by Scotty Russell. A great way to start the season. Down they go into the rooms in front of the Magpie faithful. The crowd today of 53,268 in attendance. That was one picture. This is another one. The Melbourne hierarchy, as Malcolm said, now must start again and look to the future, because that scoreline says it all. Collingwood 27-11, 173, 94-point victors over Melbourne 11-13, 79.